Welcome everybody, hope you're all having a good day. Sorry to flashbang you right off the rip, but I want to get right into the tutorial, and this is how you gotta start. So I would recommend, especially with the new update, that you make a new 0.35 for every single mod you do. So as you can see here, Rally mod I'm working on 0, that's one of my maps. I'm just gonna copy my 0 folder here. Don't copy, I'll show you what to delete. So if you have like a bunch of stuff, so the mods is the real key. You do not want to have anything in here. Leave your unpacked folder, just make sure it's empty. Let me double check, yep. Repo, that's fine, that's a UI app mod. But definitely you do not want any maps in here. You know, vehicles and stuff might be okay, but it still might cause stuff to be weird and lag. But especially maps you do not want. And then other than that, everything else, you know, vehicles, if you want to have any custom configs and stuff, yeah, you can copy those. Screenshots, you probably want to delete these just for the sake of file space. And then everything else doesn't really matter. And then back out here, if you just name this 0.35, this is what your game will now launch on. And then if you want to go back to, like, let's say my multiplayer folder, so this is what I use to play BeamNg. You just name this, you know, 0.35 racetrack tutorial, as you can see, 0, how I've done that. And then you take the MP off of that 0.35, and then you can load the game with that. So that way you can just have multiple 0.35 folders, and then you can keep your stuff very, very organized. And it really, really helps with certain aspects, which I'll go over later. They're not important now, so I won't go over them. But with that, now that we have a 0.35 folder ready to go, we're going to open up the level cleanup tool. This tool, super, super useful. The links and stuff will be in the description. There's tutorials on how to use it that are dedicated to this, how to download it from GitHub, etc. So if you don't know how to get something off of GitHub, I didn't when I first started, so it's okay. But if you don't know how to do that, then all of those guys' tutorials will be very helpful. And that guy is Alex. He made the tutorial. He's very, very helpful in the community, and this tool is amazing. So huge props to him. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be renaming our level. So we're going to take a base game level, pick whatever level is going to be most similar to what you will be making. So I'll be making a racetrack in kind of a temperate mountainous environment, and that environment I think is going to be most similar to West Coast. So that's what I'm going to pick. Sometimes it takes a second, you got to click it twice. There we go. And then, yeah, so if you want to build a jungle map, let's say, Jungle Rock Island, of course. If you want to build, you know, maybe south of Spain or Mediterranean somewhere, Italy is probably going to be your best bet. So you can see the level you're renaming. And then the file path is what it will look for. Make sure there's no spaces in this. So for me, it's going to be TBD. I recommend giving yourself a unique card at the beginning, just in case. Like, you know, if you name your map Mountain Map, there's probably multiple mountain maps. And if it's just that simple name, it might overwrite other people's mods. So if, like, let's say you upload your map to the repo and then people have both mods downloaded, they'll conflict. So just put a little creator tag at the beginning. And then that way it's also good. If your map gets re-uploaded somewhere, you can say, hey, that's my mod. But yeah, that's kind of why I do that. So TBD is for track burst of designs, not to be determined. Racetrack _ tutorial. And again, don't have spaces. It would probably be okay, but overall not ideal. And then this is just your display name. So when you go to pick it in game, that's what it will say. And then the working directory down here, this is where it will be put. You can change it if you want to. I'm going to change it to 0.35 mods. And then it doesn't even change it. Never mind. Ignore me. So you cannot change it. But this is where it will go. So users, Jack B, BeamNg, MT. Jack B is just me, Jack Brosif. Brosif is not my last name, before you ask. And then you just click rename level. So it reads it, it renames it. And then once that's ready, you can, boom, build zip file. If at any point you're curious about what I'm clicking, I'm sure you've already noticed, but there's a little thing up here in the top right. But now you just gotta wait for the zip file to deploy. Just gotta be patient. If you go here, it'll look like it's done, but you can see it's 0 kilobytes. So you just gotta wait. And I am on triple screen, so apologies if I drag something in or I'm clicking on something you don't see at any point. I will try my best, but and then the West Coast is what it's copying from. obviously. Then this is what I have. Then you can just delete the deploy once it's done deploying, of course. So, do 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 do. I'll probably cut this out, but if I don't, it'll be extra fun. Here we go. Finishes right as I'm in the middle of a sip of water. Once that is deployed, I don't know why it's half the size of West Coast, but we'll figure out why later. There have been some texture issues with this tool, so that might be why. If that is why, I will show you all how to fix that. But now you can just Control X, get that out of there. I mean, you can also copy it, but it's just going to mean that you have two versions of it now on your computer. So now 0.35, and then in the mods folder. So don't put it in your levels folder, nothing. 0.35 mods, and you can just put it straight into mods. And then we will get BeamNg launched. So when you launch it, we'll see if the textures are missing. If they are, I will show you guys how to fix all of that. Hopefully they aren't, but in 0.35, the texture system has changed a little bit. That's also why it's now more important than ever to have different user folders. If we go free mode, you should see... Oh, I do not. Yeah, there it is. Racetrack tutorial. Had me scared. I'm just blind. So, as you see, literally it's just going to be West Coast. This is also good if you wanted to, say, make like a West Coast version that has only the racetrack or something for like multiplayer purposes. It's also really good for that, this tool. So let's load in. I'm a little bit worried that all of the materials will be gone, but again, if they are, I'll fix it. Okay, so everything does seem to be working. Just gotta wait for everything to load in. It's technically a new map, so the game just has to figure out what it's doing and how to load everything. But once it figures it out, you can press the little top left, at least top left for me, the little tilde key. I just want to see if there's any missing textures or anything. There's a couple small issues. Looks like, yeah, nothing bad at all. Just some stuff that I don't have a couple of UI apps. That's literally it. So the tool still works perfectly, so that's good news. But yeah, as you can see, it's just West Coast. And then the next thing that you're going to want to do, so just check your map, make sure there's nothing missing, looks all correct. Fly around a little bit, and then you press escape, you go to mods, you'll see mods manager, racetrack tutorial. So BeamNg, that's just a UI app, and then the racetrack tutorial is what we're working on. So you go here, you go unpack, and then this way it will be a folder. I'll show you once it unpacks what it did. There we go. Okay, so what that did is if we go down here, back to BeamNg drive, 0.35, mods, it is now unpacked. So now you can edit stuff all willy-nilly and you don't have to restart your game or anything. So that's what the unpacking does. And that's it. I mean, to get started, that's all you really need. I will go through now and delete everything, and I'll leave that at the end of the tutorial. But if you yourself, you just want to start messing around or start editing, that's it. That's all you needed. But for me, we're going to get editing. So F11, boom. Again, the key presses and stuff is in the top right. Not all of them will be there. I tried to make a choice between, oh, get out of here, terrain materials. Don't need you yet. Again, that'll be on my left screen. But yeah, so I tried to make a compromise between what I thought would be useful and not taking up too much screen space. But now, you can just get rid of everything. So what you want to keep is water and like the vegetation and the forest and things like that. But a lot of stuff is not going to be, the player drop points you want to keep as well. These don't need sidewalk patches. I usually just like to go through and look at what's in there. So vegetation, definitely keep that. Water, some of this you might want to keep. Definitely the ocean you will. But like for example, this is just a pond, so I don't need that pond anymore. But the ocean I'll want to keep for sure. And then this river is going to be down. And then Alt and scroll wheel, by the way, to go faster or slower. You can see my camera speed up there. My friend GoMan taught me that one. I didn't use that for the longest time. You can also adjust your camera speed. Is it? No, that's time of day. Get that back bright and sunny. We'll go noon for you guys. This is camera speed. So, and that allows you to go faster. And then icon distance is just these guys. It defaults to 1, but the minimum is 100. Kind of frustrating. I like to leave it low, but there we go. So delete the river. Player drop points, you want to keep these. This is where the player spawns. You don't need all of them necessarily, but it doesn't hurt to have them. Drag race, don't need any of that. You know, sometimes it takes a minute to delete. There we go. Drift track, don't need the drift track. So now I'll show you guys, if we go over to the drift track now, see none of the decals and stuff is here. Not none of them, some of them still are. But pump jacks, so the pump jacks will be the nodding donkeys, these guys. So if I delete, see that they're now gone. The audio is still there, of course. That would be in the audio tile. I like to leave some of the ambient ones, or any of the large, like the airplanes, generic air, that kind of stuff. But a lot of the small stuff is not going to be needed anymore. Any of those. I don't know what folder this is in, but we'll figure this out. So this is part of the ambience. Okay. So yeah, not going to need that ambient. Usually the ambients are just like the airplane sounds going overhead and stuff like that. So some of these, okay. So the ambient 2D is going to be like the bridges and things. So in this case, the ambients are not very helpful. It depends on the map. Snapshots. And then, yeah, these are going to be like areas, like when you're under, I wonder why that one's there. Interesting. But like if you're in this garage, for example, it'll be echoey. So that's kind of what those all do. And those you can add back yourself. Bus stops, don't need those. Again, definitely keep the forest. The forest is literally every tree. I'm not going to delete it, but I'll press this little eye icon, make it go invisible. And it's funny, those trees, I guess, oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. That's why I clicked on buildings. So yeah, you can see how much, not even, like some buildings and stuff are part of the forest. I've never really figured out why that is. I personally don't do that for my own maps. I only just have the trees and stuff just for ease of placement. But again, we'll go over that later. So buildings, this is another good way to test if you need something or not, is if you press the eye icon. But for me, I'm literally starting fresh, so buildings can get out of here. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta be patient in map building. If you're on a really low-end spec machine, it might take a while, but such is life. Sometimes it's just how it is. Good things come to those who wait and all that. But sometimes you gotta wait a long time. Especially for things like the asset browser, which I'll go over. It'll do that sometimes too. Sometimes it'll bring random windows forward. But yeah, now you can see how much we're already deleting. And then static objects is going to be a bunch more stuff. So this is going to take forever to delete as well. And those are all just going to be DAEs and things like that. And that's the only file format, as far as I know of, that supports 3D models for map building is DAE. There we go. So decal roads. So the decal roads are going to be, let me see if I can find any, all these little lines and stuff here. So definitely do not need those. That's what all these little squigglies are for too. And then, so all of these are now forest items, which is annoying. And then these decals, as far as I know, you cannot bulk delete them, which is just frustrating as anything. So the forest items though, if you go here and you go select item, I'm going to zoom out. I'm just going to delete them. You just click and drag. Delete, 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 delete. Make sure we don't forget spear leaf here. And I usually like to fly a ways away and then just highlight the whole map. You can see I missed some there. Right, and now that should be every single tree. So if you ever wanted to see what a bare West Coast looks like, this is it. But now all these decals are all here. And that I'm not really sure how to delete all of them. But yeah, so here's a bare West Coast. I'm gonna quickly, so I'll bring the decal window over here. So this is the decal window. Instances, I mean, I don't know if I can just highlight these. Let's see. No, you can't. So you'd have to click through every single one. Or, yeah, delete. Maybe, let's see. Click just up here, delete. No, you have to literally click on every single one. So getting rid of these is quite a pain, and I will get back to you. This is for sure going to be a cut. We'll see if I was effortful enough to cut the other ones, but this is going to be a case of throw some music on and suffer, I think. There's a better way to delete these, let me know, because this sucks. Oh, there is a better way to delete them. Okay, just delete the template. You'll have to remake the template later, but... Okay, that's not too bad. Thought I was going to have to roll suffer there. So yeah, now everything is ready. We'll go over how to fix these. So, restore terrain, boom. So that's all you need. See the little restore terrain up here? I'm not sure why that's still a hole, but that's probably going to be fixed when you reload the map. Boom. So, those holes are just there, and if you want to make a hole, it's just clear terrain. And the thing with making the holes is they're really weird and finicky. So, yeah, there we go. So sometimes you have to paint it, and then, paint it, and then press Ctrl Z, and then it'll appear. I don't get why it does that, but that's just how it works. Restore terrain again. Restore terrain. And again, so if you wanted to make your own terrain as well, you could. You would just have to delete the existing terrain and import a new one. And that's beyond the scope of this tutorial. I might make an advanced tutorial at some point for that, but for this one, this map, so this is what's called a 2K map, so it's 2048 by 2048, and it's 1-to-1 scaling, meaning it's 2.048 kilometers by 2.048 kilometers, and that's plenty large for your first map. Let me restore this terrain, restore. I'm sure I'll miss some of these, but they're easy enough to go back and restore as and when you find them. I'm surprised that there's not one here, but I guess it was not needed. Probably in the city, there might be a couple. Yeah, here we go. Boom. Maybe at the end here? Nope, that's just the end of the map. Okay, yeah. Oh, there's one. That's a weird place for one. Oh, there's another one. Yeah, and these holes, by the way, obviously they're where the tunnels and stuff are. If that wasn't evident. And then... it seems good. Alright, so the max height, let's figure out what the max height is for this map. So if we go 200, we go set height. So height here, set height, boom. So it's 200 is not the max height. Yeah, I don't know. If someone could tell me the significance of why 384.6, it just seems like a very random number. But yeah, I think if you started with West Coast, having mountains this high would be more than plenty. Keep in mind as well that sometimes if the mountains are too high, it's bad for optimization. But what we are going to do is we're going to go down to the beach. And it's wild. So the beach height is already at 70, so the terrain goes all the way down here. So if we set the whole map to 71, I think that would be perfect. So now we're going to flatten the entire map. And you can see the paint and stuff is all sticking. I'll do a brief explanation on how to fix that at the end here. It won't be a complete fix, but it'll be good enough to get started, and then towards the end of your map making, I'll show you how to finalize it all. And I will also say too, this will not affect your base West Coast because it's a copy of the level. It's a complete copy. So now you can start creating your map. So this is at 1-to-1 terrain scaling. And what that means is we'll go here, we'll go 75, just a little it should be 4 meters up. Depends on the scaling of the map, I suppose. But so this is, I did size 2, so this is size 1. It's just a meter. And that's not the best example because it comes to a point because they try to smooth it. But if we do 4 meter box, 4x4, there you go. So you can now, get sizing and stuff. And then these are all different terrain materials, these bushes. So if we paint here, and again, I'll show you guys, boom, I'm just selecting with the terrain painter. I don't want to block up your entire screen, so I'm going to bring it back over on my left. But grass here, so this is, we'll go here in the middle of the road. This is grass. You can see it's still gray under the grass. That's the terrain overlay. Dirt grass is going to have this kind of grassy guy. The dirt itself doesn't have anything. That's for your dirt roads. This is the forest. Beach sand obviously is just going to be your beach. Dirt loose is your dirt. Grass is more like mowed grass. And you can change all this stuff out. But this is part of why you want to pick a good base. Because now you can just reuse a lot of this stuff. And you don't have to make new terrains. You can just reuse the ones from West Coast. Okay, so we're back into the map. Wanted to finish off the tutorial properly with two things. One, this will probably happen to you. It's kind of annoying. I just forgot to include, so I'll show you rather than tell you. It's easier. So if we go here, 0.35 levels, your level will appear in here. You need to make sure you combine that with the mods unpacked levels. Combine the contents, open it here. So copy it from the levels in the 0.35 and then copy it into here. And then that way it's all succinct, because if it's not, this will happen. And basically all you have to do is just do what you already did, which is never fun. So just go through, delete all of these yet again. The other thing that might happen to you is your car will probably fall from the sky. And the way you fix that is just by editing the position of, let me make sure there's no trees left. So if you edit, if you see scene tree here, if you go down level objects, no, not level objects, player drop points, one of these, all of these, as well, if you press F at any time, you'll be able to, you can see it's up in the air. So it'll spawn your car here and you'll fall. So if you want to move those around, you're more than capable of doing so, I'm sure. The other thing I wanted to show, you can see I painted all my grass here, but it's all messed up color-wise. So something I've just made and I will include in my Discord. If you join it, it'll be under Great Tutorials. You see the kind of base color here. So let's start off, we'll just do dirt grass. I've made some overlays. So grass overlay, mud overlay, sand. We'll just do dirt because it's kind of dirt grass. So open, and the map won't exactly be pretty when you apply these. But now you can see it's at least all one color. And then we'll do the same. So the asphalt, let me apply the asphalt overlay. Boom. And you might have to resize these based on your map. So the mapping scale you can see is here. You might have to change the size of them in like paint.net or whatever. Let me move this out of my way. And then now if I paint, so terrain painter, asphalt, now you can paint your asphalt. So this will at least allow you to get your basic idea of the map done when it's all one color. You can still see like the height map and stuff, and I missed a section. But this will allow you to get the basics of your map done and out of the way. So then you can focus on, you know, the fun stuff. And then when you're done building the map, and that'll be at the end of the tutorial, of course, you can beautify all of your overlays. But the color overlays will work plenty well. And the ones that'll be in the Discord, I have one for sand, dirt, grass, mud, asphalt, basically all the basics. And they're really easy to make. It's just a single color image of like one color of the, like a square image. That's the word I was looking for. Make sure I'm recording. Yes, I am. Classic GeoWizard moment. But yeah, so now that everything's the right color, it's all flat, you can get building. So good luck, and I look forward to seeing your guys' builds. If you build anything and post it on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, or Discord, feel free to either join the Discord and show me or tag me at TrackBrosif on various social medias. So good luck, have fun, and I hope to see you at the next tutorial.